Was this real? A message from a woman I didn't know. What could she possibly want with a guy like me? I couldn't stop myself from smiling.
Name bright on my screen, glowing against the coldness of my workspace. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen for a moment longer than I should have. Was this real? A message from a woman I didn't know, someone who seemed genuinely interested in talking to me? What could she possibly want with a guy like me? I couldn't stop myself from smiling. It wasn't just her message that caught me off guard, it was the timing. I had just gotten home from another long day of coding, spent hours tweaking an app that was barely getting any traction. I was used to being alone, to the silence that filled my apartment when I shut my laptop off at the end of the day. But today was different. Today there was a message. Hey, Liam. I saw your post about cybersecurity on the forum. It's rare to find someone who really knows what they're talking about. Do you have a moment to chat? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the latest trends. It wasn't much, but it was enough. I had just been scrolling through a professional forum, one where most people seemed to be more interested in showing off than in real conversation. But her message was real.
Genuine.
Something in her words felt inviting.
Warm.
I typed back quickly, trying not to sound too eager. Hi, Emma. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, I've been reading up on the latest trends. It's crazy how fast things are evolving in cybersecurity. What do you think about the current state of encryption? She replied almost instantly, and our conversation flowed easily after that. It was clear we both had a passion for the same things. At first, it felt like any other online discussion. But there was something about her that drew me in. Her messages weren't just about tech. She'd slip in little things, personal details that made me feel like we weren't just talking shop. We were connecting on another level. You're really easy to talk to, Liam, she wrote one evening. I'm glad we crossed paths here. I sat back in my chair, reading her words over and over again. She thinks I'm easy to talk to?
Me?
I didn't know what to say to that, so I just laughed to myself and replied, I'm glad we connected too. It's rare to find someone who shares the same interests without trying to sound superior. It wasn't long before we started talking outside the forum. We exchanged numbers, talked about movies, life, and everything in between. She sent me her Spotify playlists, said they were perfect for long coding sessions.
I didn't even have to try.
With Emma, it just clicked. But the more we talked, the more I realized how much I looked forward to our conversations. There was something about her, something magnetic, that kept pulling me in. I would start the day checking my phone to see if she'd messaged me overnight. And she always did. I didn't have many friends. My life wasn't exactly the social type. It was work, home, repeat. But Emma? She seemed different. There was a spark in her messages, an energy that I couldn't ignore. One night, as we were wrapping up another late-night chat, she sent me a message that left my heart pounding. I feel like I've known you for ages, Liam. I'm really glad we met. I stared at the screen, the words sitting there, glowing under the dim light of my desk lamp. My hands trembled slightly. I feel the same way, Emma. But I couldn't say that. Not yet. Not until I was sure. I was too cautious. Too afraid of getting hurt. Still, her words made me feel things I hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe there was more to this than just a professional connection. I feel the same way, Emma. I typed back slowly. It's like we just get each other. I hit send and then sat back, waiting for her response. I didn't know it yet, but this would be the beginning of something that would change everything. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to catch my breath as I waited for her next message. And when it came, it was more than I ever expected. I think you're amazing, Liam, she said. And I think we could be really good together. Maybe we should meet up sometime? I'd love to see you face to face. My chest tightened. Face to face? It felt like a dream, something too good to be true. But I couldn't shake the thought. What if this was my chance? I quickly typed back, I'd love that. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Emma's messages, once so frequent, were now sporadic. Days would pass before she'd reply to me, and even then, her responses were shorter, more distant. It started with little things. A missed reply here, a late response there. I tried to brush it off, she was busy, right? Maybe it wasn't anything. But as the days dragged on, I felt the coldness between us growing. I couldn't stop checking my phone, hoping for a message from her, but it never came. I stared at my screen, her name still flashing on my phone. "Where are you, Emma?" When I finally saw her name pop up again, it wasn't her.
It was Olivia.
"Hey, Liam," her message read. "I know things have been a bit quiet with Emma lately. She's been going through some stuff. I think she's pulling away, but she didn't mean to." I frowned. Olivia? Emma's best friend? Why would she be reaching out to me now? My stomach churned, uneasy at the sudden shift. I tapped out a quick reply, trying to mask my confusion. "Hey, Olivia. I appreciate you reaching out. Is everything okay with her?" There was a slight pause before Olivia replied. "Yeah, she's just overwhelmed. I think she's struggling, you know? She's not great at opening up, and I don't want her to push you away. She really likes you, Liam, but I think she's just afraid." Afraid? It didn't make sense. Emma had been so confident, so open with me before. This wasn't the girl I had been talking to for the past few weeks. I stared at the message, trying to read between the lines. Something felt off, but I didn't know what it was. Was this really just Emma going through something, or was I being lied to? "I don't know." I typed, the words feeling too vulnerable to send. I don't understand. She's been distant." Olivia's reply came quickly. "It's not you, I promise. Maybe she just needs space. She's afraid of getting hurt, and it's easier for her to shut down. But I'm here for you, Liam. I know Emma, and I know what she's like. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here." Her offer sounded too smooth, too easy. But my mind was clouded with confusion and fear of losing Emma. So I did what I always did. I let my guard down. "I don't know what's going on, Olivia. It just feels like everything's falling apart." I could almost feel her smile through the text. "I get it. It's tough. But you're not alone in this, okay? I'm happy to help you figure this out, Liam. I'm not going anywhere." I had no idea what was happening, but a part of me felt comforted by her words. Olivia had always seemed sweet when I met her briefly in one of Emma's group photos, always the supportive best friend. Maybe she really did just want to help. That's when I made the mistake of opening up to her. "I just feel like she's pushing me away. I don't know what I've done." I thought things were going well. "Don't blame yourself." Olivia's reply was quick, comforting even. "You're an amazing guy, Liam. Emma's lucky to have you. But she's complicated. Sometimes she just shuts everyone out. It's her way of protecting herself." There it was again, this need to protect Emma. Olivia's words were soothing, but something still didn't sit right with me. I tried to push the doubt away. "I just want things to go back to how they were." Olivia's response came swiftly, a bit too swiftly. "I know. And I think they can. Maybe you can meet up with her? She's in Manchester now, but if you came to see her, I'm sure she'd open up." I hesitated. Going to Manchester? I had never met Emma in person. The thought of showing up unannounced felt intrusive, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I'd do anything to get things back to normal. "I'll think about it," I replied, already knowing deep down that I would go. I needed answers. Needed to see her. Needed her to see me, to know I wasn't going anywhere. A few hours later, Olivia messaged again. "By the way, if you need anything while you're planning your trip, I'm here for you, Liam. Don't hesitate to reach out. I've got your back." Her words were so kind, so genuine. But the longer I thought about it, the more something gnawed at me. Why was Olivia so eager to help me? She barely knew me. But I pushed the thought away again. I was too invested in Emma to question her best friend. I didn't realize it then, but Olivia wasn't just helping me. She was weaving a web that was slowly pulling me away from Emma, one thread at a time. And I was too blinded by my own feelings to see it. I didn't expect Olivia to show up in London, but when I saw her name pop up on my phone, I couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and uncertainty. "Liam, I'm in town. I thought we could meet up," the message read. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said, and I think I can help. Emma needs some space, but she doesn't know what she's doing. I can talk to her, but you and I should have a little conversation first. What do you say?" I wasn't sure what to make of it. I hadn't spoken to Emma in days, and the thought of seeing Olivia felt like the only way to get some clarity. Maybe she could really help after all. She was Emma's best friend. If anyone could shed some light on why Emma was suddenly so distant, it had to be Olivia. Right? I quickly typed back, sure. We can meet. When and where? Olivia's reply was almost immediate. How about tomorrow evening? I'll find a nice place in Birmingham, a quiet bar. It'll be just the two of us. Birmingham. I hadn't planned on traveling that far, but something about her message made me feel like I had no other option. Emma's silence was eating away at me, and if Olivia could help me figure it out, maybe it was worth the trip. The next evening, I arrived at the bar. I had no idea what to expect, but I was anxious. I walked inside, looking around for Olivia. She was already there, sitting at a corner table, her back straight, her smile warm but calculated as she saw me approach. Liam, you came? She stood up, her smile widening. I'm so glad you agreed to meet me. It's been a while since we've talked. Yeah, it has, I replied, taking a seat. My mind was still racing, trying to figure out what this was all about. I don't know what's going on with Emma. I thought we were fine, but then she started pulling away. It's like she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Olivia's expression softened, but I could see the glint of something else in her eyes. It was almost too comforting, too understanding. It's not your fault, she said, reaching across the table to place a hand over mine. Emma's complicated. She's afraid of getting hurt, and sometimes she pushes people away when she feels too close. But that doesn't mean she doesn't care about you, Liam. Her touch lingered a little longer than necessary, but I didn't pull away. She was comforting, and part of me just needed to believe that Emma wasn't doing this to hurt me. But something was nagging at me. Olivia was talking as if she understood everything about Emma, as if she had all the answers. Why do you think she's pushing me away? I asked, my voice a little shakier than I intended. Olivia's eyes narrowed slightly, as though she were deciding how much to reveal. She doesn't know how to handle emotions. It's like she keeps everyone at arm's length, even when she wants them close. It's hard for her to trust anyone completely. But you're different, Liam. I can see that. I couldn't deny that I wanted to believe her. Olivia's words made sense, even though a small part of me couldn't help but feel like I was being drawn into something I didn't fully understand. Maybe I'm not what she needs, then, I muttered, my mind spinning. I mean, I'm just an ordinary guy. Maybe she's better off without me. No, Olivia interrupted quickly, her voice almost too eager. Emma just doesn't know how to show it. You're perfect for her. She just needs time to figure things out. But listen, Liam. She paused, leaning in slightly, her voice dropping to a softer tone. I've been thinking, maybe it would help if you went to see her. You could surprise her, show her that you're serious about this. I raised an eyebrow. Go to Manchester? I haven't even talked to her in days. Olivia nodded, her eyes wide with sincerity.
Exactly.
That's the point. She won't expect it, and when you show up, she'll realize how much you care. But I think you need to do it soon. She's been shutting herself off, and you're the one person who can break through that. Trust me, Liam. This will work. I swallowed hard. I wasn't sure if I was ready for this, but Olivia was convincing. She knew Emma better than anyone, right? Maybe this was the way to fix things. I guess I could give it a try, I said, feeling the weight of the decision settle in my chest. Olivia smiled, her eyes gleaming with something I couldn't quite place.
Good.
I knew you'd see it my way. I'm here to help you, Liam. You won't regret it. Her words rang in my ears as I left the bar that night. I still wasn't entirely sure what had just happened, but a small part of me, desperate to fix things with Emma, felt like Olivia was guiding me in the right direction. I just didn't know that by following her advice, I was walking straight into a trap.
The train ride to Birmingham was agonizing. I stared out the window, watching the world blur by, my mind consumed with what Olivia had said the night before. She'd convinced me this was the best thing for Emma, surprising her, showing her how serious I was. But somewhere deep inside, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was walking into a trap. I arrived at the bar, my stomach in knots. The place was quiet, the soft hum of conversation filling the air. I spotted Olivia immediately. She was sitting at a corner table, looking casual yet composed, like she knew exactly what she was doing. Liam. Over here, she called with a bright smile. I made my way to the table, trying to push the unease out of my mind. Olivia stood as I reached her, pulling out my chair and gesturing for me to sit. Thanks for coming, she said, her voice warm and inviting. I know this can't be easy, but I'm glad you're here. Emma needs this and so do you. I sat down, my eyes locking with hers. I wasn't sure if I was more confused or frustrated. I don't know about this, Olivia. I thought meeting up would help, but now I'm not so sure. She leaned in slightly, her expression sympathetic. I know it's hard. But trust me, Liam. This is the best way to fix things. You need to show Emma that you care, that you're willing to fight for her. Her words were so convincing. But something about the way she was looking at me like I was some sort of puzzle to be solved made my skin crawl. I don't want to fight, Olivia. I just want to understand what's happening with her, I said, my voice low. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I get that, I really do. But sometimes people need a push. Emma's not great at being vulnerable. You can help her, but you have to show her how much you care. She's scared, Liam. She doesn't know how to let you in. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. And you think I can do that? Just show up? Is that really the answer? Olivia's smile widened, but there was something almost predatory in it. I know you can. But listen, there's something you should understand. Emma, she's afraid. She's afraid of getting hurt, and that's why she's pushing you away. I nodded, but my thoughts were racing. Something about this didn't sit right with me. Was Emma really afraid, or was I just buying into Olivia's version of things? I don't know, I muttered, my hands fidgeting with the napkin on the table. It feels like she's slipping away and I'm powerless to stop it. Olivia's voice softened, almost soothing. You're not powerless, Liam. You're in control. You can fix this. All you need to do is show Emma that you're the one she can rely on. Her hand reached across the table, gently resting over mine. I froze. The warmth of her touch was unexpected, but I didn't pull away. I was too caught up in the moment, too desperate for answers. Olivia, I started, but my words faltered. I didn't know what to say. She was looking at me like I was the only person in the room, like I mattered more than anything else in her world. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You're not alone, Liam. I'm here for you. I want to help you just like I've been helping Emma. But I think you need to start seeing things clearly. Emma's not the only one who's afraid. You are too, aren't you? I hesitated. The words felt like a confession, a crack in the walls I'd built up. I'm not afraid of Emma, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm afraid of losing her. Olivia's hand tightened around mine, just enough for me to feel it, but not enough to hurt. Then you need to do whatever it takes. Even if it means making tough decisions. I could feel my heart racing, the heat of her touch spreading through my body. But as much as I tried to ignore it, I couldn't deny the pull I felt toward her. This wasn't right. She was Emma's best friend. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I don't know if I can do this, Olivia, I said, my voice strained. It feels wrong. You're telling me to fight for Emma, but it feels like you want me to fight for you instead. For the first time, Olivia's smile faltered. Her eyes flashed with something, disappointment maybe? But it was gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by that same calculating warmth. I just want you to be happy, Liam, she said, her voice low, almost seductive. And I think you'll be happiest with Emma. But sometimes, people need a little push in the right direction. I'm here to help you. You don't have to do this alone. My head was spinning. I wanted to trust Olivia. I really did. But everything in me screamed that this was wrong. Why was she so insistent? I think I need some air, I said, standing up abruptly. Olivia didn't try to stop me. She just smiled, that same warm, almost comforting smile. Take your time, Liam. I'll be here when you're ready. As I stepped outside into the cool night air, I felt like I was suffocating. The confusion, the desire, the guilt, it was all swirling inside me, a storm I couldn't control. I had come here to fix things with Emma, but now I wasn't sure if I was the one being played. I hadn't expected it to happen like this. I'd just gotten home from Birmingham, my mind still spinning from the conversation with Olivia, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Emma. My heart raced. I hadn't heard from her in days, and the tension in my chest only grew as I read it. We need to talk. I hesitated for a moment before I quickly typed back. What's wrong? Is everything okay? Her reply came almost immediately. Just come over. I know everything. I felt the blood rush to my head. Everything? What did she mean? I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew I had to go. I had to face her. I couldn't avoid this any longer. When I arrived at Emma's place, the door opened almost immediately and she stood there, her eyes already narrowed. There was a coldness to her I hadn't seen before, something unfamiliar, but it only made my heart race faster. "Liam," she said, her voice low and sharp. "We need to talk." I nodded, stepping inside, but the tension between us was palpable. I could feel the weight of her gaze on me, like she was waiting for me to explain myself. "I'm guessing you already know," I said, trying to sound calm, though my voice trembled slightly. "Oh, I know," Emma snapped. "I know about you and Olivia." "What, did you think I wouldn't find out?" I froze. "Olivia? What are you talking about?" Her eyes were like daggers now, cutting through me with every word she spoke. "I saw the texts, Liam. I saw you two making plans behind my back. You were supposed to be trying to fix things with me, not sneaking around with her." The accusation hit me like a slap in the face. "Emma, it's not like that. Olivia, she just wanted to help. She said you needed space and—" "You're really going to stand there and tell me that?" she interrupted, her voice rising. "You think I'm that stupid? I know what's been going on. You've been spending time with her, confiding in her, while I've been sitting here, waiting for you to talk to me." "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," I said, my voice breaking. "I never wanted to hurt you. I was just trying to figure things out. I thought Olivia could help me understand what was going on with you." "Help you?" Emma scoffed, shaking her head. "She's been helping you all right, helping you right out of my life." I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding in my chest as I tried to process everything she was saying. "Emma, please. I never meant to betray you. I thought I was doing what was best for us." She stepped closer, her face inches from mine. "You think this is about what's best for us? No, Liam. This is about you. This is about you running to Olivia because you're too much of a coward to face me. You couldn't even talk to me about what was really going on. Instead, you went behind my back. You've been lying to me." "I wasn't lying," I whispered, feeling my voice crack. "I was trying to fix things. I swear." Her eyes searched mine, looking for something, anything, that might show I was telling the truth. But I could see the doubt in her eyes, the anger, and the hurt. "I don't know what to believe anymore, Liam," she said, her voice soft but venomous. "Maybe I was wrong to trust you." The words hit me harder than anything she'd said before. My heart sank as the weight of her betrayal sank in. I never meant for any of this to happen. I never wanted to hurt her. But I could feel myself slipping further away from her with every second that passed. "I never meant for any of this to happen," I repeated, barely a whisper. I thought we were working through things. But I see now that I messed up." Emma didn't answer at first. She just stared at me, her expression unreadable. Then she spoke again, her words cold and final. "You've made your choice, Liam. And now I have to make mine." Before I could say anything else, she turned and walked away, leaving me standing there, numb. I didn't leave. I couldn't. I stayed in her apartment, pacing back and forth, trying to make sense of everything. I couldn't stop thinking about Olivia and the role she had played in all of this. What had started as a simple attempt to understand Emma's withdrawal had turned into something far worse. Olivia had lied to me. She had manipulated me. And now it was all falling apart. I pulled out my phone, staring at Olivia's last message from earlier that day. "Emma doesn't know what she wants. But you can fix this. You can show her that you're the one she needs." The words taunted me now. Olivia had known exactly what she was doing. She had known that by pulling me away from Emma, by feeding me her doubts and insecurities, she'd get me all to herself. She had played me and now I was left picking up the pieces. I called her. I had to know the truth. "Liam, what's wrong?" Olivia answered, her voice sugary sweet, but it only made my blood boil. "Cut the crap, Olivia," I snapped, my voice shaking with rage. "You used me. You played me like a fool. I should have seen it earlier, but I was too damn stupid." There was a pause on the other end of the line before she spoke again, her voice cold and casual. "I was just trying to help, Liam. You can't blame me for that. You knew exactly what you were doing," I growled. "And now look at what you've done." Her laughter on the other end of the line chilled me to the bone. "Don't worry, Liam. You'll figure it out. You always do." I hung up without another word, the weight of everything crashing down on me. I had no idea how I was going to fix this. I had no idea if I even could. But Olivia had made sure of one thing. Whatever happened next, I was no longer the one in control. The train ride back to London was quiet. I stared out the window, watching the scenery pass by, but my mind was elsewhere. The confrontation with Emma still played over and over in my head. The anger in her eyes, the pain in her voice. I never wanted to be the reason she hurt. And yet, here I was, caught in the mess of lies and manipulations that Olivia had spun around me. I had thought I was doing the right thing, trying to fix things to find some kind of peace with Emma. But now I saw it for what it was. I'd let myself be used, drawn into a game I didn't even realize I was playing. When the train pulled into London, I stepped off, my heart heavy. I made my way back to my apartment, but as I walked through the city streets, something had shifted inside me. It wasn't just the anger or the betrayal. It was something else. Something deeper. I walked through the door of my apartment, the place feeling strangely empty, as if the walls were closing in on me. I dropped my bag on the couch, staring at it for a moment before sitting down. The weight of everything hit me all at once. Olivia, Emma, my own naivety. How had I not seen it sooner? How had I let myself be so easily manipulated? I pulled out my phone and glanced at the recent messages from Olivia. There were more than I cared to count. Messages that had once seemed comforting, full of concern for me for my relationship with Emma. But now they felt suffocating. I scrolled through them, pausing on the last one she'd sent before everything had blown up. Liam, you know I'm always here for you. You don't have to do this alone. Emma doesn't know what she wants, but you deserve to be happy. I can help you. I threw my phone onto the couch, frustration bubbling up inside me. Help me? I muttered aloud to no one. You used me. I leaned back, my head resting against the couch as I closed my eyes. I needed to clear my head, to think clearly for the first time in what felt like weeks. The truth hit me then. I had to break ties with both Emma and Olivia. As painful as it was, I couldn't keep running in circles, hoping things would magically fix themselves. I needed to focus on myself, on my own healing, my own future. I wasn't some pawn to be used in their games. I sat up and grabbed my phone again. With a steady hand, I typed out a message to Emma. I'm sorry for everything. I never wanted to hurt you. But I think it's time we both move on. I wish you the best, truly. My fingers hovered over the send button for a moment. But then I pressed it. It was done. There was no going back. Next, I opened Olivia's messages. The words felt suffocating, but I had to do it. I typed out another message. Olivia, I can't keep doing this. I've realized I've been too caught up in things that aren't healthy for me. I need space from you. I hope you can understand. I hit send, feeling a strange sense of relief wash over me. It was over. The mess I'd let myself get caught in. Over. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the screen for a while, my heart finally starting to settle. It felt like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders, but there was still a lingering ache. It wasn't just about Emma and Olivia. It was about me. The choices I had made, the mistakes I'd let slide for too long. I was done being naive. I had to grow to become someone stronger, someone who wouldn't let others dictate his emotions. The past few weeks had torn me apart, but it had also opened my eyes. I couldn't keep waiting for someone else to fix things. I had to take control. The phone buzzed in my hand and I glanced down. It was a message from my colleague, Charlie. He had been the one constant through all of this, someone who didn't ask questions but just listened when I needed it. How's it going? You hanging in there? I smiled slightly, feeling the weight in my chest lift a little more. I'm getting there, I typed back. One step at a time. I put the phone down and stood up, walking over to the window. The city stretched out before me, its lights glowing like a million tiny stars. I had no idea what the future held, but for the first time in weeks, I felt ready to face it. I was ready to move forward, to focus on what truly mattered. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. I didn't want to answer the phone, but it buzzed relentlessly. I picked it up, only to hear Olivia's voice on the other end. I had expected this moment, her reaching out, her trying to make things right. But I didn't know if I was ready to hear her out. Liam, her voice was softer than I remembered, almost fragile. Can we talk? I clenched my jaw, taking a deep breath. What's there to talk about, Olivia? I owe you an apology, she said, her voice quivering slightly. I should have never gotten involved the way I did. I know I hurt you and I'm sorry. I never meant for things to go this far. The words felt hollow. I had heard apologies before, and each time they had come too late. I had let her manipulate me, let her weave a web of lies around me, and now she expected me to just forgive her? You're sorry? I repeated, my voice cold. You're sorry now after everything? After what you did to me, to Emma? There was a pause on the other end of the line. I could almost picture her on the other side, nervously biting her lip, waiting for my reaction. I never wanted things to end up like this. I was just trying to help, she said, her voice shaky now. But I see now that I was selfish. I should have been more honest with you. I leaned back in my chair, the weight of her words sinking in. I could feel the anger bubbling up, but I kept it under control. You were never trying to help. You were using me. You were using both of us. And now look where we are. Emma's life is falling apart, and you're still trying to play the victim. Another pause. I could tell she was at a loss for words. For the first time in a long while, I was the one in control of the situation. And it felt good. Liam, please, she begged, her voice breaking. I didn't want to hurt you. I swear. But I was just trying to make things right in my own way. No, I said firmly. You were trying to fix things for yourself, not for anyone else. You're the one who messed everything up. I could almost hear her breathing faster, her panic creeping through the phone. I never meant to destroy things. I was just afraid. I thought if I could make you see that Emma wasn't right for you, maybe you'd see me instead. But I was wrong. I see that now. The realization hit me all at once. This wasn't about her apologizing for her actions. It was about her needing me to validate her choices, to make her feel like she hadn't lost control. But I wasn't going to play that game anymore. I'm done with this, Olivia, I said, my voice steady and cold. I don't need your apology. I don't need your validation. I've learned the hard way that my life doesn't revolve around other people's approval. Not yours, not Emma's. Not anyone's. She was silent, the weight of my words settling between us. Then in a whisper she said, I'm sorry, Liam. I really am. But I wasn't listening anymore. I had already made up my mind. I don't want to talk to you anymore, I said, my voice firm. Goodbye, Olivia. Before she could respond, I ended the call. The silence in my apartment was deafening, but for the first time, it felt peaceful. I leaned back in my chair, letting out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. The phone buzzed again, but this time it was a message from Emma. I didn't want to check it. I wasn't ready to deal with whatever mess she had created, but I knew I had to. I opened the message with shaky hands. Liam, I don't know what to say. Everything's falling apart. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I never meant to hurt you. I read the message over and over, the guilt and regret in her words echoing in my chest. But there was something else, something deeper. Her lies were finally coming to light and she was losing control. Just like Olivia had, Emma had tried to manipulate me into believing that I was the problem. I closed my eyes, rubbing my temples as the weight of everything hit me all over again. But this time I didn't feel the urge to fix it. This time I felt strong enough to walk away. I typed a quick reply to Emma. I'm sorry, Emma, but I can't keep doing this. It's over. I pressed send before I could second-guess myself, knowing it was the right decision. The power had shifted. I was in control of my life now, not Emma, not Olivia. Me. I stood up, pacing around my apartment, the realization finally sinking in. I didn't need anyone to complete me. I didn't need Emma's love or Olivia's apology to feel whole. For the first time, I was starting to understand my own worth. I wasn't going to let their games control my future. I was done being their pawn. It was time to move on, to focus on what really mattered, myself. As I looked out the window, the city lights flickering in the distance, I knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter. And for the first time in a long time, I felt ready for whatever came next. It's strange how you can be so consumed with someone's actions, only to find that when everything unravels, you're not as affected as you thought you'd be. That's how I felt as I watched Emma's world crumble. I had cut ties with her weeks ago, hadn't seen her in person since that last confrontation. But I still found myself keeping an eye on the wreckage from a distance, watching the consequences of her manipulations unfold. It was like some twisted form of justice, watching her struggle in the wake of the lies she had spun, the web she had tried to trap me in. It started with her job. I had heard rumors, whispers in the office, people talking about how Emma had been caught in a lie. Her manager, the one who had always supported her, had started questioning her decisions. She had been found fabricating reports to cover up her failures. I couldn't help but feel a small, bitter sense of satisfaction at the thought. It wasn't long before I received a text from Charlie, my colleague, who had been privy to some of the office drama. Hey Liam, you heard about Emma? She's in deep shit. Looks like she's been caught lying about a bunch of things. HR's getting involved. It's bad. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't even know if I should care. Part of me wanted to feel sorry for her, to feel some sympathy for the person I once cared about. But the other part of me, the part that had been burned by her lies and betrayal, couldn't muster up anything more than indifference. I texted back. I heard. Honestly, it's not surprising. Charlie's response was quick. Yeah. I don't think she'll last long there. I just feel bad for her. She's always been so sure of herself. I thought about that for a moment. Sure of herself. That was the thing about Emma. She always came across as so confident, so in control. But now she was unraveling, unable to face the consequences of her actions. She had spent so much time playing games, pretending to be someone she wasn't, and now the truth had caught up with her. A few days later, I saw her name pop up in the news. I almost couldn't believe it when I read the headline, "Emma Williams fired for corporate misconduct. Company sues for damages." I stared at the screen, a strange emptiness settling in my chest. She had always been so careful, so calculated in everything she did. But now, the very thing that had made her so dangerous to me, the need to control everything, was what had caused her downfall. Her emotional fragility, the cracks she had hidden so well, were finally exposed. She couldn't handle the pressure anymore. She couldn't manipulate her way out of this one. The people she had hurt, the ones who had trusted her, were now turning their backs, and she was left alone in the wreckage she had created. I didn't feel sorry for her, but I did feel something. Something like regret, but not for the reasons I had expected. I had once thought that Emma was someone worth fighting for, worth risking everything for. But as I watched her struggle, I realized something important. I didn't need her to be okay. I needed to be okay. I had moved on, and seeing her crumble only confirmed that I had made the right choice in walking away. I saw her at a cafe one afternoon, alone. She didn't see me, but I saw her, sitting there, her head in her hands, staring down at the table like she was waiting for the world to swallow her whole. There were no more masks, no more bravado. Just a broken person, lost and ashamed. I debated for a moment whether I should go over, say something, offer her a word of comfort, maybe. But I didn't. I just watched, detached, and for the first time I felt no obligation to help. She had chosen this path. She had made these choices, and now she had to face them. As I walked away from the cafe, I felt a sense of finality. Emma was no longer the person I had once known. She was no longer the person I had tried to save. She had become a stranger who had lost everything because of her own actions. It didn't feel like victory. It didn't feel like anything at all, really. But what it did feel like was freedom. For the first time in a long time, I realized I was free from the emotional hold she had on me. The power had shifted, and I was no longer a pawn in her game. I pulled out my phone and texted Charlie again. "You were right. She's falling apart." His response was simple, but I felt it. "Yeah. It's a shame, really. She had so much potential." I leaned back in my chair, the weight of everything finally lifting. I had spent too long caring about someone who didn't deserve it. I wasn't going to do that anymore. Not with Emma. Not with anyone. I had moved on, and now it was time to rebuild. I was finally starting to see that my life, my happiness, didn't depend on anyone else. It depended on me. I wasn't expecting to meet Charlie at the bar that evening. It had been one of those days, another frustrating round of calls, and I had nearly convinced myself to just go home and sulk in silence. But then I got a message from Charlie. "Grab a drink? Need to talk." It was brief, but I could sense the urgency in his words. I didn't hesitate. I needed someone to talk to, someone who wasn't wrapped up in all the mess that Emma and Olivia had dragged me into. When I arrived, Charlie was already there, nursing a beer and scrolling through his phone. He looked up when I walked in and waved me over. As soon as I sat down, he gave me a look that said it all. "You've been quiet, man. What's going on?" he asked, his voice friendly but with a knowing tone. I sighed, rubbing my hands over my face. "Everything's just a mess, Charlie. Emma's life is falling apart, and Olivia, she's still trying to pull the strings. I thought I was doing the right thing, trying to fix things with Emma. But now I don't know." Charlie set his drink down and leaned in slightly, studying my face. "Sounds like you've been dealing with a lot. But you know, it's not just about fixing things with Emma, is it? It's about you. About what you want." I shook my head, feeling the weight of it all. I wanted it to be right. I wanted things to work out. But every time I think I've got a handle on it, something else blows up in my face. Charlie nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Look, man, from what you've told me, Emma's been using you. Olivia too. They both have. And it's not just about them. It's about you letting it happen." His words hit me harder than I expected. "What do you mean?" "You've been letting their issues and their drama control your life. And for what? To try and fix something that wasn't yours to fix in the first place." Charlie paused, taking a drink before continuing. "You've been putting their needs first, trying to save them. But what about you, Liam? When was the last time you thought about what you really need?" I swallowed hard, the weight of his words sinking in. It was true. I had been so focused on Emma's problems, Olivia's manipulations, that I'd stopped asking myself if I was happy. I'd stopped asking myself if I was getting anything out of these relationships. "I don't even know anymore," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. Charlie leaned back in his seat, looking at me with a level of seriousness I wasn't used to seeing from him. It's time you start thinking about yourself, man. You deserve better than this. You deserve someone who isn't going to play games with you. Someone who isn't going to leave you feeling like shit after every conversation. I nodded slowly, the words starting to resonate with me. I had always thought I had to fix things, that my purpose was to be the one who could make everything right. But now, looking at it all, I realized how much I had sacrificed of myself for them. I don't know where to start, I said, feeling overwhelmed. I'm not sure how to move on. Charlie smiled softly, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You start by taking back control. Start by cutting ties with people who are bringing you down, even if it's hard. Start by putting yourself first for once. You deserve peace, Liam. His words felt like a revelation. For the first time in weeks, I felt like a weight was lifting. I wasn't responsible for Emma or Olivia's lives. I wasn't responsible for their happiness. I could choose to move on, to focus on my own growth and happiness. I took a deep breath and leaned back in my chair. You're right. I've been stuck in their mess for so long, I forgot that I have my own life to live. Charlie chuckled. Exactly. You've been trying to save them, but you can't save anyone if you're drowning yourself. And trust me, you're worth more than that. I let his words sink in, feeling the truth of them settle in my chest. I'd spent too long looking for validation from people who didn't deserve it. I needed to focus on my career, my own healing, and my own happiness. I couldn't keep waiting for someone else to fix me. Thanks, Charlie, I said, my voice steady now. I think I've been afraid to admit it, but I needed to hear that. Charlie smiled, his eyes warm. Anytime, man. You're a good guy, Liam. You don't deserve all this drama. I smiled back, feeling lighter than I had in ages. I guess it's time for a new chapter then. I'll figure it out. As the evening went on, we talked about everything and nothing. It was strange how easily the weight had lifted from my shoulders. I wasn't fully healed yet, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe again. When I left the bar later that night, I didn't feel the same uncertainty that had plagued me for so long. I wasn't weighed down by Emma's mistakes or Olivia's manipulations anymore. I had made the decision to take control of my life, and for the first time, I truly felt free. I didn't expect Olivia to reach out again, but when I saw her name flash on my phone, I knew it wasn't going to be good. The message was brief, almost too polite. Can we talk? I think we need to clear the air. My heart sank, and I immediately knew what she was about to do. I wasn't going to fall for it this time. But part of me, the part that had once cared about her, hesitated. I'd already cut her out of my life, but I couldn't deny the fact that she had a hold on me. I glanced at the message again and typed out a reply. I don't think there's anything left to talk about. But then another message from her popped up. Please, Liam. It's important. Just one last chance. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't leave it like this. I needed closure. I needed to be absolutely certain that I wasn't going to get pulled back into her web of lies. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and walked out the door. When I arrived at the cafe, I saw Olivia sitting at a corner table, her face masked in a thin veil of calm, but I could see the nervousness in her posture. She was fiddling with her cup, her hands trembling slightly. When she saw me approach, she gave me a tight smile. Liam, thank you for coming, she said, her voice soft but with an edge of desperation. I know things have been complicated. I didn't sit down immediately. I crossed my arms, my eyes narrowing slightly as I stared at her. Complicated? Olivia, this has never been complicated. You've been playing me and I've let you. It's over. Her eyes flickered with a brief flash of anger before she softened. I know. I've messed up, Liam. But I still care about you. I didn't let myself flinch. That's not why you're here, and you know it. You don't care about me. You never did. You were just trying to control me, trying to get me to fill the void you have in your life. Olivia's face turned red. Her eyes watered as she stood up, her voice rising. That's not fair, Liam. You don't understand what it's like for me. I'm not just some villain in your story. I did all of this because I was afraid of losing you. I was jealous of Emma, of the way you looked at her. I couldn't stand it. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I had always known that Olivia had insecurities, but hearing her admit it so openly made me feel nothing really. It wasn't pity or sympathy. It was just nothing. You were afraid? I said, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. Olivia, you were never afraid of losing me. You were afraid of losing control. You wanted me to be yours no matter the cost. She took a step toward me, tears streaming down her face now. I never wanted to hurt you, Liam. I never wanted to hurt anyone. But you and Emma, you were everything I wanted. I thought if I could just keep you close, everything would be okay. But now look at what I've done. She was standing close to me now, her eyes pleading for something, anything, that could make me feel sorry for her. I stood my ground, my heart no longer swayed by her tears. You're right about one thing, Olivia, I said, my voice firm. You've ruined everything. But not for me. For yourself. You wanted control and now you're losing it. She collapsed into the chair, burying her face in her hands as sobs racked her body. The sight of her breaking down should have made me feel something, but all I could think about was how far I had come. I wasn't going to fall back into this. Not this time. I can't help you, Olivia, I said quietly but firmly. You have to deal with the mess you've created. And I'm not part of it anymore. You're not my responsibility. She looked up at me, her face contorted in pain. So that's it? After everything we went through, you're just going to walk away? You don't even care? No, I said, shaking my head. I do care. But not like this. Not at the cost of my own happiness. I'm done trying to fix you, Olivia. It's not my job. There was a long silence between us, the air thick with unspoken words. I could feel the weight of the years we'd spent tangled up in each other's lives slowly evaporating. It wasn't anger I felt, not anymore. Just a deep sense of peace. I was finally free. She didn't say anything else. She just sat there, staring at the table, her body shaking with the weight of her emotions. I took one last look at her before I turned to leave. As I stepped out into the cool evening air, I felt lighter than I had in months. Olivia's emotional collapse wasn't my problem. It wasn't my responsibility to fix her or Emma anymore. I was done trying to save people who didn't want saving. I was done being a pawn in someone else's game. I was finally in control of my own life. And for the first time, I felt like I was walking away with a sense of clarity and strength that I had never had before. I sat at the window of my apartment, staring out at the city as the night stretched on. The quiet hum of the streets below was comforting in a way. It felt like the whole world was moving around me and I was finally standing still, at peace with where I was. The weight of the past few months had been heavy, too heavy, but it had all led me to this point. I wasn't sure how much time had passed since I last spoke to Olivia or even Emma for that matter. The silence between us had become a new kind of peace. But there was something different in the air now. I wasn't consumed by their expectations anymore. I wasn't waiting for their validation. My phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at it, half expecting it to be a message from one of them. It wasn't. It was from Charlie. How are you holding up, man? You good? I smiled to myself as I typed back. Yeah. I think I'm finally good. I didn't have to think twice about my response. For the first time in a long time, I felt certain about something. I didn't need anyone to fix me anymore. Not Emma, not Olivia. I had learned that lesson the hard way. The last few weeks had been about letting go, accepting that I couldn't change the past. Emma had her own path to walk and Olivia had made her choices. I had made mine. And I was ready to move forward. The phone buzzed again, but this time it was a message from Emma. Liam, I don't know if I'll ever be able to apologize enough for what I did. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. I've lost so much and I can't change what happened between us. I don't expect anything from you. I just wanted to say that I regret it all. I stared at the message for a moment. Her words, filled with regret, were hollow to me now. I had once hoped for something different, but the truth was, Emma and I weren't meant to be. We had tried and it had ended in a way I never imagined. But it didn't define me. It didn't define my future. I typed back slowly, my fingers hovering over the keys. I'm glad you've realized that. But I can't keep holding on to the past. I have to move forward. I've learned a lot from everything, but I'm done trying to fix what's broken. I hit send before I could change my mind. It felt final, and that was exactly what I needed. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. But I had to let go for my own peace of mind. I sat there for a while, my phone still in my hand, feeling the weight of my decision settle deep in my chest. It was strange, this sense of closure. I wasn't the same person I had been when Emma and I first met. I wasn't the same person I had been when I let Olivia into my life. I had grown in ways I hadn't expected, and now I was stronger for it. I stood up, walking over to the window and looking out at the city. The lights twinkled like stars in the distance, each one a possibility. It was like I was seeing everything clearly for the first time. The weight of the past had been lifted, and the future felt open, full of possibilities. I had learned to stop relying on other people to make me feel whole. I had to do that for myself. I wasn't perfect, but I was enough. I had to believe that. I had to keep moving forward, even if the road ahead was uncertain. My phone buzzed again, but this time it was a message from Charlie. Good to hear, man. Don't forget you've got a future ahead of you. And you're not alone in this. Let's grab a drink soon, yeah? I smiled and replied, sounds good. Let's do it. I put the phone down and took a deep breath. I wasn't running from my past anymore. I had made peace with it. But it was time for me to step into the future, to embrace whatever came next. I was ready. I grabbed my coat, heading for the door. As I walked down the street, the cool night air filled my lungs, refreshing and new. The city around me felt alive, full of energy, and for the first time I felt like I was part of it. The past was behind me. And now I was walking toward my future step by step. I didn't know where the road would take me, but I knew this. I was finally in control of my own life. And that was enough. The sound of the train humming along the tracks is oddly soothing. I stare out the window, watching the landscape blur by. The city of London, with all its chaos and memories, is now behind me. I could almost feel it pulling me back, but I didn't look away. I couldn't. It's been a few weeks since I left, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I had packed up my things, deleted old messages, and decided to start fresh in a new city. It was time to leave everything behind, especially the people who had tied me to that toxic version of myself I had let go of. I never thought I would feel this calm. But I do. And it's strange in a way. I had spent so much of my life feeling like I was always reacting to other people's drama. Now it's like I'm in control. I'm not rushing to make someone else happy. I'm not waiting for their approval. I pull my phone out of my pocket, checking the time. I've got another 2 hours on this train before I get to my new place. There's no going back. The old me wouldn't have been able to do this. I would have hesitated, maybe looked for a reason to stay, even if it meant staying miserable. The message notification on my phone catches my attention. Liam, I just want you to know that I'm really sorry. I messed up and I'll always regret losing you. I hope you can forgive me, but I know I don't deserve it. It's from Emma. I read it once, twice. The same old regret from her. The same hollow apology. I can almost hear her voice in my head as I read the words. But this time I don't feel the old tug of sympathy. The old guilt. There's nothing. I type a quick response. I've forgiven you already, Emma, but I can't go back. I have to move forward. I hope you find what you're looking for. The moment I hit send, I feel this strange sense of release. It's like I'm not holding on to her anymore. It doesn't hurt the way it used to. I'm not waiting for some magical moment where she realizes she was wrong and comes back to me. It's over. And I'm okay with that. I sit back in my seat and let out a slow breath. For the first time, I feel fully in control. I'm not clinging to the past. I've learned the lesson that I needed to. My happiness isn't tied to anyone else. It's mine to create. The train slows as we approach my new city. I'm not sure what lies ahead, but I feel hopeful. There's a part of me that's nervous, sure. A part of me that's scared I might mess it up. But I'm not as afraid as I was before. I know who I am now, and I know that I can handle whatever comes next. When I step off the train, the air feels different. It's fresh, and there's something about this city that makes me feel alive, like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I walk out of the station, and the street is bustling with people, the sounds of life around me filling the silence. I send a quick message to Charlie, letting him know I've arrived. His reply is quick as always. New chapter, huh? Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. I smile at the message and slip my phone back into my pocket. It's funny, Charlie and I haven't spoken in person in a while, but I feel his support more than ever. Maybe because he was the one who helped me see that I didn't need anyone else's approval to be okay. I get a cab to the place I'll be staying. It's a small flat, nothing extravagant, but it feels like home already. As I walk into the flat, I take a moment to look around. This is my space, my new beginning. No more lingering ghosts from the past. No more lies. Just me. I sit down on the couch, looking out of the window at the skyline of my new city. The lights twinkle in the distance, and for the first time in a long time, I feel the weight of everything that had been holding me down lift completely. I didn't realize it before, but leaving was the best decision I've ever made. I can feel the shift in myself. This is the moment where everything changes. I'm not running from anything anymore. I'm running toward something better. Toward the person I want to become. I know there will be hard days ahead. I know I'll face challenges and moments where I'll question if I'm doing the right thing. But I'm stronger now. I'm no longer the person who let others define him. I've learned that my happiness starts with me. And that realization is all I need. I stand up, walking to the window again, looking out at the lights. The world is wide open in front of me, and for the first time, I know exactly where I'm headed. This is my life and I'm ready to live it on my terms.